the prevailing sexual ethic that is reigning in the country and being enforced by the state is insane. In Wisconsin right now, there's a Wisconsin school district that just filed a Title IX sexual harassment complaint against middle school students. And they are filing this complaint against the students because the students used the correct pronoun to refer to one of their classmates.
An investigation into 3 Kiel middle school students has been launched.
The school district has filed a Title IX complaint accusing the students of using incorrect pronouns while addressing another student. Fox 11's Monique Lopez spoke with the parent of one of the students in this Project Education report.
I received a phone call from the principal over at the elementary school forewarning me, letting me know that I was going to be receiving an email with sexual harassment allegations against my son.
Rosemary Rabidou's 13-year-old son, Braden, is one of the 3 8th grade Kiel middle school students accused of sexual harassment, something she disputes.
He said he's being allegedly charged with sexual harassment for not using proper pronouns.
Some might say or think that you or your son are against the LGBTQ plus community.
Not at all. Not at all.
Now, there's so much here. You could write a doctoral dissertation about this whole interview because you saw right there at the end, the interviewer says, so your 13-year-old son is being charged with sexual harassment for using the correct pronouns to refer to a sexually confused classmate. Some people would say you're against the LGBTQ community. And you see what that woman says. This totally normal mother who says, are you kidding? You're accusing my 13-year-old son of sexual harassment for calling a her, or a him, a him. And they said, but are you against the LGBT? She said, no, we're for it, LGBT. We're totally pro-LGBT. Oh yeah, man, absolutely. We worship at the altar of LGBT because this woman knows that that's part of the public religion. And she knows that if you contradict the public religion, you will be called a heretic and you will be ostracized and you will be punished. And she knows that. So even this woman who's defending her kid and saying, what, you're telling me my 13-year-old son has to use the wrong pronouns? Apparently one of the students wants the pronoun to be they or them, which makes me wonder if this student has multiple personality disorder, that they think that they have multiple people inside of them, that they and them, which is now being used as a singular pronoun by very confused people. And the student said, no, I'm not going to do that. And now the student's being punished. Are you against the LGBT? No, never. No, please. Now, of course, if one is a Christian, a Jew, a Muslim, an agnostic person who just sort of holds on to a traditional sexual ethic, they might have objections to some aspects of the LGBT, LMNOP ideology and sexual ethic. For all of the history of civilization, pretty much, people would have had legitimate objections to some of that sexual ethic. You are not permitted to have those objections now. And we're being told this is in the name of neutrality and open-mindedness and liberality, but of course it's not. What the state has said here is, no, you do not have the right to your religion. You do not have the right to your sexual ethic. You do not have the right to think what you think. Actually, it's the most closed-minded sort of regime that one could possibly imagine. And now it's being taken to the height of absurdity. And then, of course, they're going after the 13-year-old boys, which is preposterous. On the schoolyard, people say all sorts of mean things. But the kids aren't even saying a mean thing here. They're being punished not for telling a lie, not for being insulting, not for being cruel. They're being punished for telling the truth. And people around the country are looking at this and they're saying, hey, whatever it is, whatever the left is selling, we are not buying. If this is what leftism leads to, we're out. See you later, folks. Right now, go to bowlandbranch.com, use promo code Michael. Boll & Branch not only helps me sleep better, but it also teaches me things. Did you know that thread count is just a totally made-up number? It's not that it's a made-up number, but it's a made-up, meaningful statement. You always hear sheet companies, they say, we've got a 7 gazillion thread count. It doesn't matter how many threads you've got if the threads are not of the highest quality, okay? So a lot of sheet companies, they'll say, oh, we've got all this thread count, but their sheets aren't any good because the threads aren't very high quality. Boll & Branch uses only the best. 100% organic cotton threads on Earth for a superior softness and a better night's sleep. I love these guys. I've been sleeping on Boll & Branch for years. They're like a drug dealer. They gave me the first batch for free, and now I've been buying them ever since. 3 U.S. presidents sleep on Boll & Branch. 3 U.S. presidents and one of your favorite podcast hosts. Check it out right now. You get 15% off your first set of sheets when you visit bollandbranch.com. Use promo code Michael. That's BOLLAND branch.com. Use promo code Michael, MICHAEL. The libs are losing right now. They're at least losing ground with the people because we can see what they're doing. We can see what they're doing in the schools. That was first open to us during COVID-19, during the lockdowns, where parents could see on a screen what their kids were being taught. That's because of social media, which, though social media tries to suppress some awful clips of the libs, they don't often totally succeed at that. It is because we're seeing what their euphemistic abstract policies, choice and affirmation, and we're seeing what that means in real life. There's a video brought to us by our great friends over at Libs of TikTok of a queer surgeon, that's his name on Twitter, at queer surgeon, this guy Blair Peters, bragging about performing, quote, gender-affirming mastectomies, top surgeries for 3 young adults and adolescents in a day sometimes, and by that he means lopping off the perfectly healthy breasts of teenage girls, of these young girls. He brags about it on video.
I'm here to clarify and speak some truths about what's happening with gender-affirming care in adolescents. Most of the bills that are going through right now aim to limit this care for people under the age of 18. And there's this false narrative that a lot of teenagers are having gender-affirming surgery. Most of the teenagers that are having surgery are getting chest surgery, and most of that is happening before 18 because these individuals didn't have access to early enough medical treatment. So using surgery as sort of this false narrative to attack gender-affirming care as a whole is not correct. The truth is that by limiting access to medical care with some of these bills, you're actually going to cause more people to need gender-affirming surgical care.
That's his explanation. He's saying, look, so the reason that I'm lopping off the perfectly healthy sexual organs of teenage girls left and right in medical experiments, the likes of which we've never seen before in the world, we're doing this because they're not letting us pump 5-year-olds full of hormones and 8-year-olds full of cross-sex hormones and puberty blockers. So if they would just let us do that, then I wouldn't have to lop off the perfectly healthy organs of the teenagers, okay? And that's why it's so important for us to pass these laws that will ensure our right to sexually mutilate little kids. That's what he's saying. In a just society, this guy would be in prison, okay? His name is, what is his name? Blair Peters. In a just society, this man would not be practicing medicine. He would not be bragging about, he posted this video. It wasn't some undercover investigation. He himself posted this video to TikTok, which none of us would have seen because TikTok is all young people and obviously skews to the left. And then Libs of TikTok reposts it to Twitter and we get to see it. This guy should be in prison. There should be laws against the sort of thing that he is doing. And obviously there should be laws against the sort of thing that he is advocating, which is even more radical. And there's no throw your hands up in the air, guys. There's no bury your head in the sand. There's no you do you. I'm not going to force my views on you. Either we're going to live in a country that sexually mutilates little kids or not. The law is going to say one thing or the other. Either we're allowed to do that or we're not allowed to do that. I think we should not be allowed to do that. I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong because of biology and because of philosophy and because of morality. And I think it's wrong in part because we just all know it's wrong. And even people who are not the most educated or sophisticated or read the latest journals, we just know it's wrong to do that, to lop the breasts off of teenage girls. It's just wrong, right? And we know it. And we're right to know that. And we don't need to second guess that. And we don't need to try to deny the intuitions that happen to be correct. And we have the right in a self-government, if indeed we live in a self-government, to pass laws against that and to criminalize this. And if this creep, if this pervert, Blair Peters, decides to keep pushing this radical, destructive sexual ideology on innocent little kids, then that guy should go to jail. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? I'm so glad you liked that clip. Now ring that, smash that, like that, click, and make sure, did I say that right? I think I did. Make sure that you get the notifications for The Michael Knowles Show. You can also go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you get your audio podcast. Subscribe to The Michael Knowles Show. Leave a 5-star review. Leave a 10-star review if you wouldn't mind. We'll see you next time.